Hello and welcome to episode 18 of Kerbal Space Endeavour. If you remember, in previous episode we did collect a asteroid. It is a Class-A asteroid, and now we have an encounter coming up for a Class-C asteroid, which not only is good for science, but we also have a contract that wants us to collect it. So we free up our asteroid collector and we are going to refuel it and then send it on an intersect course to the asteroid. So here you see me fiddling around with maneuver nodes to get into it, and pay close attention to what I'm doing and how the orbits are intersecting, because it's going to be important later. But I'm gonna get into that when the time comes. I want to apologize for this episode being this late. As I said before, university is starting up for me again, and I already have an exam coming up on the 15th. I actually had to study for quite a bit. So I will probably have to cut down a little bit, so there will only be like a episode a week. But just so you guys know what is going on and why I suddenly am so slow with producing episodes. But now that it is all set up, let's switch back to our base on Minmus. So with our newly installed mining facility, we were able to fuel up our xenon gas containers, and our rover is back and ready for some new science. And we have Murford Kerman being the next one to fly around on Minmus and collect a lot of this juicy science. So with a little bit of time acceleration here, we take a look at the map and try to see what kind of biome is close by that we could get to. And I decided these flats look quite interesting enough. So we prep up the engines, turn on the lights, and then it is just a straightforward liftoff like you've seen before, and we're doing again. It is always good to have a docking port at the bottom of the craft, so it is a good way to orientate yourself when using the nav ball to steer. So whenever you construct a vehicle, don't try to forget that, and also keep that tip in mind, because later on that might come important. So yeah, we are running out of electric charge once again, and in order to not do that, we're gonna use these wonderful capacitors to give us that extra piece of energy so we can keep thrusting and not plunge back towards Minmus and explode into a million pieces. So yeah, we'll just try to get there as close as we can without using up too much fuel. I mean, we could make endless amounts of fuel, but it takes time and other resources, and yeah, being efficient is probably never a bad idea when running a space program. Now, I have encountered a bug that seems to be happening to me quite a lot, is that my UI suddenly disappears. If that happens to you, the only thing you can do is quick saving and quick loading, and that pretty much fixes the problem. But somehow I do encounter a different problem as well, is when I try to time accelerate, my craft was stuck. Like, it was not moving anymore. So once again, quick loading, quick saving, and moving around. And for some reason, even though I just quick loaded it, every time I tried to fast forward, it did the same thing. So a newly found bug, maybe it has something to do with the mods I'm using, or I don't know. But I had just to go through all of this without any time warping. Now, since all of this was live streamed on Twitch, some things should be done by Twitch me, so Past Me is gonna comment this now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I guess this was a light enough landing as there could ever be. So let's look up the new science. First of all, a laser surface sample that is happening back here, and we run out of electric charge. These small areas of flat crystalline material are composed of material completely different than that of the surrounding terrain. Interesting. What does the magnetometer tell us? Close study reveals that Minmus does indeed not generate a magnetic field. We know this already, but let's take it anyway. The material study tells us something. While the samples are processed, you turn your thoughts to how much Minmus looks like a mint desert and discover that you are hungry. What does the mystery goo tell us? The goo is erupting into dance. Okay then, we have dancing goo. Seismic activity. The vibrations indicate there's some rock under all that ice. Fascinating. Temperature scan. The thermometer suddenly reads NaN. One of the wires must have come loose again. Okay, I think it is time for an EVA report and toggle the magnetometer. Let's leave the seat. We do not have electrical charge on him, which is not good, but we'll recharge as soon as we're back in the craft. So, EVA report. As far as you can tell in the low gravity, the ground is firm underfoot and not as slippery as you had expected. The surface sample reads, you want to get your helmet off and taste the sample. Instead, you pull yourself together and continue with the mission. Yeah, that would be a rather bad idea to take off your helmet, wouldn't it, Murford? Okay, let's get back into our rover and back to the base so we can process all of this new information. And let's board. And now we have to wait for both of our capacitors to recharge. Enable recharger. So after this is all being recharged, we're gonna start heading back to base so we can restore all of the science bay and mystery goo containers on this craft so we can head out yet for another mission. But once again, we had our stuck in space bug, and quick loading once again saved us. But yeah, we get in fairly close to the base. It is not one of my best landings, but good thing that I thought ahead of this and I built wheels on this. And we like to drive backward instead of forward. But yeah, we get back to the base, we collect all of the science there is, and then we'll just have to transfer it into the base and send all of the science that is not mission critical or that doesn't deduct any science by transmitting it. We're transmitted it. And now we need to connect our crafts together so we can use the science lab, for which we need 2 people in here, to restore the junior science bay and of course the mystery goo container on the rover. Now, since we're also going to time warp and fill up our xenon gas right here, we somehow encountered a bug once again, but you'll see that later. I like how I postpone everything for later and everything is happening later, but that's just how the things work. So yeah, new mission. Around the poles we have another drive-by mission, or actually the drive-by mission that we've had for a long time. I just never got around to doing it because it is on or around the poles, which are hard to get to. So now we have Lemberg Kerman going for our newly targets. And with some post-editing and fast-forwarding, we can time accelerate this to where we get pretty close to our target. Now, the problem is that our target is on the dark side of the planet, and then I will have a hard time landing this craft because I will run out of power, and then things would explode and everything. So I decided I'm gonna go down on the day side of the planet and then drive through the night side of the planet and get our objective and all of the science that we can get. But on our first landing, as you can see, we broke off a wheel. And the good thing is wheels can be fixed, and there's a whole bunch of science we can do, but I thought at that time I was gonna go to the poles and not to the highlands. So yeah, it is time for Lindenberg Herman to get out, and meanwhile our batteries are recharging, to get down there and repair this wheel. But things go horribly wrong, and while trying to fix them, I destroy one of my solar panels. They don't seem to break off when in contact with the ground, but they break off with me. And since I didn't want this mission to fail, I said, okay, I'm gonna quick load because this craft is already so low on power and it never works as I hoped it would, so we're just gonna have to cheat by quick loading. However, we get out, and with the power of SCS we do get to manage repairing this wheel, and then it is time to wheelie on to our target. And we're going to drive there under time warp. Well, time warp, external time warp, post-edited time warp, not in-game time warp, because in-game time warp somehow breaks the game. While I was on my way, I thought, I'm not gonna make it to the poles, am I? So I decided it would be the best idea if we're just gonna take the science that we can get right here and then collect the poles another time. Laser surface, and grab it. What does it tell us? The surface rock here shows high concentration of magnesium, aluminium, iron, nickel, manganese, and silicon, elements that make up the green mineral chloride. Magnetometer punches through our solar panel. Closer study reveals that Minmus does indeed not generate a magnetic field. We have heard this one before. What does the materials study tell us? While these samples are processed, you turn your thoughts to how much Minmus looks like a mint desert. We have heard that one too. Mystery goo, maybe you are new. The goo turns into a scale model of Minmus and indicates the landing site with a little X. Has it become sentient? The vibrations indicate there's some rock under all that ice. We've heard that one before too. Temperature scan. The ground seems to reflect most of the sun's thermal energy, yet the ground temperature is much higher than it should be. This warrants further investigation. And of course we need to leave our seat, or an EVA report. It is hard to control your movement in this low gravity, you don't say. And we can take a surface sample on the rover. Ice up here has a very high reflectivity, which must significantly contribute to the high albedo of Minmus. Okay. Let's collect this data. Let's collect that data. And of course, let's collect all of the other data as well. So if anything happens, as long as we have the data stored in our suit and not the craft, everything should be fine. So I decided, once again, it is far too boring to drive over the surface of Minmus with 10 meters per second uphill. I thought, let's then jump there once again, because keep in mind, we did call this rover the Jumper. Yeah. But since we're coming in a little bit fast, I thought, maybe we can use our velocity, and we actually do make a semi-landing right here, where we kind of keep rolling. I mean, with the power of SCS, we have even the ability to drive on two wheels without any problem. Yeah, so we're kind of cruising down this hill at a fairly fast pace, or actually we're driving sideways around the hill. And we're trying to get to our targeted location to fulfill this contract, because once again we are still quite low on money. And with a little bit of time acceleration, we're gonna jump forward here, better say. Yep, we are now in the area where we're supposed to be, and we get the information that we are in the area again, because every single time you get close to an area, it indicates that you are within reach. And as you can see in the top right corner of the screen, we've already completed some contracts, and yep, there we go. And there should be one big final one coming right up. Where is it? There we go, next one, and yeah, we have it completed. The entire contract is complete. We get a whole bunch of money, and now we have a problem. We are going very, very fast, like really fast. I mean, for a rover, but still. And how am I going to stop this? And how am I getting back to the base before starving or running out of power or running out of water or any of the other good things? So the first idea that I had is just thrust backwards and try to get over the ridge that I came from, so I could get back into the sunlight and recharge. But that plan didn't work out as intended, so yeah, we kind of broke a lot. So let's try this again. This time I thought, okay, if we can't go backward, let's use the velocity that we've picked up and move forward. But also, because we're on the dark side of the planet, we do run out of power, and I can't keep my pretty much height. So now we're going in for a landing over here, and this time we even break off our ion engines. So this is not gonna work out. Yeah, it was a little bit frustrating. Fun, but also frustrating. So the last idea that I had, I'm just gonna stop the craft as it is, and then I'm going to wait for the planet to rotate around. I mean, we broke another wheel, but besides that, the craft is fine. We're just gonna wait for the planet to turn around, hope that we do not starve to death, and once everything is up in the sun again, there's the sun, we are almost out of food, water, and oxygen. So we have to get Lember back to our base as quickly as possible so he doesn't die. I mean, I could have brought the mechanical crab over, since it has a lot of fuel on it and a lot of delta V, and it could have saved him. But I really wanted to get the rover back too, so yeah, I really thought it was a good idea to just try and get back as quickly as we can. And once again we have the bouncing around of our craft, because that damn gravity on this planet is so low. It helps, but it also destroys or pretty much hurts all of my projects that I have. Okay, so on our way home, this is all fast forwarded, we came in so fast that there was no way I could stop the rover. So the only solution that I found for this to work is smack into things and let it fly off. And with the last little bit of RCS fuel we have, monopropellant fuel, or EVA fuel for that matter, I pretty much ditched the entire craft and tried to fly back to the base, because the craft itself had nowhere near any enough thrust to stop myself. So yeah, the rover is done and gone, crashed somewhere on the surface of Minmus, and we will have to get a new rover to collect more science. I was really frustrated at this point with the design of my rover, so yeah, you'll see the new design in just a minute. And what the hell is going on with Lember? He just smacked there into that habitat and thought, well, I'm gonna go breakdancing on Minmus because screw gravity. And as you can see, I told earlier that fast forwarding is a bad idea. Yep, the whole base is now in a weird position, as you can see right here. Alright, let's jump ahead to my newly designed heavy rover, tested by Jebediah, of course, but this requires past me. Activate the engines. And let's have a liftoff. Or don't. No, we do. There's just so much smoke we don't see anything. Fuck yeah! Go big or go home. And it explodes. Okay, I have to work on my landing there, but other than that, I call this a successful test. Now, I was quite entertained at the time because it was late and a lot of things went wrong, but I enjoyed this. However, this episode comes to an end. Stay tuned for more. My name's Antilles, and until next time.